Hi everyone. Good morning. Good morning for us in Australia. How are you? Thanks for joining us this morning. I'm very well, thank you. Very nice to have my feet back on home soil after being traveling and working away. Yeah, no, it's really nice. Always nice to leave, even better to come home, right? Bit vintage. Bit vintage. It is. Spirit fingers. Spirit fingers. I love that show. Mm. Yeah, sure. So it's really interesting. Resilience is what you do after you cry. So let me just qualify what I mean by that. Resilience is the skill that we always talk about, which is how you cope or bounce back from a negative event after it happens. So that's how I define resilience. However, the focus of today's live stream is really about how can you short circuit your brain to be able to hack it, to be prepared to deal with the shit before it lands and actually love the experience. So that's what we're really going to be talking about today. Mm. Well, look, life is ebbs and flows, but the problem that we've got at the moment, and I'm seeing it, really happening, reflected in increasing mental health concerns, stress, anxiety, organisations feeling like they're, blinded to being able to see what lies before them, not knowing how to lead, is that a lot of it is the crippling because of the stress we're experiencing at not knowing how to handle, how to navigate uncertainty and change. But psychologically, yeah. So psychologically, what we know, and I know this after 20 years of working in this space, that there are certain things that you can do to actually get your brain supercharged and mentally agile quite quickly so that no matter what's coming your way, no matter what the weather conditions, you can actually take control of your mind and actually turn that fear into confidence and courage, exhilaration even, and say, yeah, I've got this, and be able to turn those situations around very, very quickly. But there are several things that you need to be working on in your mind to get prepared to be able to navigate those storms with much greater dexterity and calm. And calm is the word. Yeah. Mm. Mm-hmm. Mm. Look, here's, and this may shock everybody listening. The secret is how fast you can flip your mindset into positivity, which creates the greatest resilient response. And I like to talk about, I don't want to talk about resilience anymore. I want to go beyond resilience. I want to talk about resilience. And that's what these mind hacks are about. And over the last 20 years, working with leaders, managers, people in professional workers, in businesses all around the world, there are certain things that super resilient leaders do that others don't, that makes a difference. And so, even in writing Unreasonable Ambition, it's what I've noticed they do differently so that they're in resilience mode and they are better prepared to cope with and even glide through life's challenges with a certain stealth, almost like contemporary dancing versus ballet. They don't tend to get leveled as badly as those who are unable to flip fast. So it's about being able to step into whatever it is and flip your mindset fast. Not that you don't feel it, because we all do as human beings. Everybody feels the fear, believe me, we're not robots. But it's perspective and how quickly you can flip your frame into a much more positive and evolved state of mind, get control of it so that you handle things differently. And that makes the difference. That's what I've noticed. Mm, yeah, yeah. Yeah, sure. So, the first hack to getting into a resilient mindset, and that is the ability to anticipate and glide with your brain through seismic paradigm changes, which is kind of describes where we're at right now, is being able to embrace the suck and then navigate the storm. So, what I mean by that is you have to face reality as it is, right? You have to understand that things go down, life is tough, but your ability to confront reality quickly, process it, and move through that cycle of change a lot more quickly, and then get control of your emotions around that is the first place you need to go. So the more you say, yes, the situation sucks, I understand it does, okay, woe is me, stay there for 1 second, now what am I going to do about it? And move to the rational brain. You do. Yeah, I think you would be. Yeah. Correct. Mm, mm. Yeah, definitely. It's and so what I love the way you're talking about it's this emotional zooming in and zooming out, right? So you zoom in, you understand the nature of the challenge, you understand the situation, you have your feelings about it, and then you quickly zoom out and say, okay, I understand what's happening now. Zoop. Now, what am I going to do about it? It's like a great example, also, James, would be people's individual responses to the COVID announcement. Like after you'd kind of heard the news, processed it, kind of got some semblance of a grip because nobody really knew about what was happening. Where did you go to next? Did you bunker in and go and have panic buy toilet paper? Because that's a great example of not having a resilient mindset. Or Did you sit with it and say, okay, what does this mean? And what do I need to do to, in all the aspects of my life, to take advantage, to control for, to resolve? What does this mean for my business? And how can I look at the upside of it? How long did it take you to look at the upside of COVID for your business and what you needed to do to pivot? Or did you get crippled by the experience in the first month? You know, that, right, right. That's interesting. Yeah, 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 yeah. It's good. Hey, I tried to, but it was already taken by Dr. Gav Schneider. Actually sent me what is it? A desist letter. What is it? Cease and desist. He said, cease and desist. He actually sent me this really nasty letter that said, "Do not use the word resilience because I coined it unless you quote me." And they sent me all these legal letters. Anyway, story for another time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dr. Gav Schneider. I said his name. It's not mine. Dr. Gav Schneider. Okay. Um, um, Number two is don't be there when the hurricane hits. So get out before disaster strikes. People with resilient minds remove them, can see what's coming, notice the early warning signals, and get out before the hurricane hits. So I can give you a really good example of this. Yeah, go ahead. Some of it, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I love that question. So no, you're not running from anything, and I think that's a really good question. It is relying on a mixture of your intuition and your rational brain, and we tend to discount our intuition, right? When stress takes over, intuition gets shut down, and we can't see the moves of the world clearly. And when you listen to the future, when you can see the signals of what's going on, you need to respond to them. So, for example, you're in this organization and you're starting to see most of the executive team being axed, and you're on the executive team. All right. And you sit there. You don't do any due diligence. You don't find out what's going on. You know what? Chances are they're doing a cleanup and you're next. So start looking for another job. Don't be there like a sitting duck waiting for the axe to fall. Get the frig out of there and move on. You know, if you're seeing on mass level, get out. Yeah. That's called hubris. That's called hubris. That's an overinflated ego, James. Shame on you. No, just kidding. It's hubris. you know. Mm, yeah. Very much. Very much spidey senses, James. And the way I suggest people tap into their spidey senses is mindfulness, right? It's about slowing down to speed up. You've got to create moments of stillness and prioritize moments of stillness, meditative moments. It doesn't have to be meditation, it could be walking along the beach, where you're shutting out the noise of life to allow your intuition, your creative processing, your ideas, and your flow to filter up and drown the noise of the intellectual. And that's when you'll start to see things. It's like the relationship that you're in. You know that it sucks. You've got all the signals, but you stay there anyway. I mean, that's being a mug, right? It's the same thing about don't be when the hurricane hits. when I speak to my clients, often when something's gone down, they already knew it was happening. They already knew. But you know what? They didn't listen. And this is about that listening, that deeper listening. It's really important. Mm, yeah. Nice. You do, you do. Yeah, number three is you've got to know your limitations. You've got to know your strengths and when to ask for help. And one of the big things that I see in leaders who are super resilient is they have what I call the rock star mentality. They're slightly delusional, which we've spoken about before. And that is that they understand their strengths, they understand where they need help, and they ask for it. Being not knowing, not having all the answers doesn't shut down their willingness to seek out the help from others because they know that it'll speed up their ability to figure out a way forward no matter what the complexity of the challenge or the tough situation they find themselves in. And so that's a big part is I know I've got confidence in myself, but I also know that I don't have the answers and I'll ask for help when I need it. I noticed Kerry just came in with a question here. I think we're taught resilience. That means you stay when it's tough, which can confuse intuition sometimes. Yeah, that's true. Absolutely. And it's not always about staying. It's staying, but it's you're right, Kerry. It's staying power. But it's staying power means staying in the moment, keeping your mindset strong versus physically staying in a crap situation which is keeping you down, abusing you, not helpful to you, or not enabling you to evolve. And I think we've really got to determine the difference there. Staying in circumstances that keep you down are not what resilience means. Mm. Correct. That's right. Yeah, that's right. Mm. 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 Yeah, for sure. So the next one is really, expect the best but plan for the worst. And it's really interesting when I gave a speech. I was a keynote at a risk conference. I know they're actually very interesting risk professionals. Let's not give them a bad rap. And I spoke after George Jones, who was the former chairman of Sundance Corporation, and they were the mining company where the entire board and executive took a plane to visit their assets in Africa, all on the same plane, and the plane crashed and they all died all in one day. So it was big in 2010. And I asked him when I was there, what is the one thing you wish you knew now that you did, back then? And he said, I wish I'd known how to plan better for the future and how to ask the right questions. And sometimes a process that we use in psychology, which is really powerful, is negative visualization. So, negative visualization is where you actually anticipate the scenario that you're confronting, everything that can go wrong, and then you reenact multiple responses to that scenario, so that when you're actually in that moment, you can be better prepared. Now, you're not always going to know what's going to happen to you, but you can start to build that discipline around calming your mind down before you step into the storm, if that makes sense. And so this is just one of the techniques that you can use to build resilience in real time so that you're actually calmer in those moments when you're experiencing stressful events and thus be more agile and accelerate your agility. It gets your mind more agile faster. Mm, yeah, yeah, yeah. Mm, yeah. Mm. You are. Yeah. No one. No one, no one does it, and very rare. And this is why I felt like compelled to talk about it. And pre-mortems are actually a key part of the way I run strategy. So when I'm doing strategy for an organization and helping them build their business of the future, I run pre-mortems as a prerequisite because so I've built resilience into my strategy delivery. To your point, that's a key part of it. But you can do it with every part of your life, every situation, everything that you worry about. You can actually run a pre-mortem on anything. But people, again, this is that piece around slowing down. We don't prioritize this. And this is the problem. The skill set, the mindset, the capability is all within us. You can build your leader, you can build your agility quickly, but you have to build the practices and the techniques to get your mindset into that state. And we don't. We're reactive. And that's why we're suffering, right? As a race. That's why we're suffering. And we've got to do better at this. Okay. So everything when we're stressed out, the first thing someone says to you is, oh, you really need to go to a retreat and take a break and take a load off and you don't do it. Self-care, absolutely. And I would be negligent not to say yes to that. However, if you're really in a tough situation that is actually incredibly stressful, the best thing you can do is get busy. Get busy. Distract yourself from the stress until you're ready to deal with it. So, actually, staying busy can be one of the best ways to work through a particularly tumultuous and mentally taxing time. Hands down, psychologically proven. Yeah. Yes. Correct. Yes. Mm. Yeah. Yeah, 100%. 100%. And whether at work or in your life, because, we're doing this around adversity and leadership, but honestly, it's leadership of work, leadership of your life, right? This is leadership lessons for life that we're talking about right now. You can apply this to any situation and it'll be useful and it'll be relevant. But and the thing is, when you go through this process, when you go through these, you actually, stuff gets thrown at you, go, oh yeah, I remember when I did this, and you go, I got this. And it's almost like you've got this tennis racket, the ball's coming at you, and you're like, boom, 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 boom. And you're just knocking those balls back, you know? And that's how it feels. This is mental agility. Look, I'm dancing, mental agility. Whoa, yeah. Mm, mm. Right? That's how you look. That's how being ambidextrous looks, everybody. And when you do this, that's exactly what happens. You cannot fail. You cannot fail, I promise you. We all do, James, not just you. What I'd say to you is absolutely start to do the work about preparing with the future in mind, preparing for adversity. Go through these processes because it will naturally give you the confidence and courage to, do the dance. But the other part is when you get to that place, treat it as a game. Treat life as a game. If you can find the fun in the challenge, it's almost like taking a hit of cocaine. Not that I ever had, okay, just to be clear, but it actually, I know, I haven't. But what it does is it taps into the same reward centers in your brain as taking a hit of cocaine naturally. Now, who would want that? Come on. Who doesn't want the hit of euphoria, baby? It gives you that hit. So doing this work gives you that hit so that you crave it more. You'll keep doing it and you're going to enjoy the ride of life a lot more. You're going to have more fun. Oh my goodness. Correct. No. Mm, 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 mm. Yeah, that's right. It's a good example. Pre-mortem. Pre-mortem. So yeah, no, absolutely. We've got this an extraordinary clinical psychologist, Donna Stambulic, managing director of a practice called Recode, who's going to be talking about. I don't want to give away the story, but how she has overcome the pit of darkness to build a very exciting and incredible career. And we're going to be talking about how she used gratitude to supercharge her life, turn it around, and actually become the extraordinary leader that she is today. Mother of two children, has achieved it all and is still going, and a great source of inspiration for so many. So can't wait to. I'm going to be taking a back seat in that one because I know Donna really well, but I will be there. But James is going to be leading the charge on that one. Yeah, very excited. Mm. Thanks, everybody. Until next week. Ciao for now.